That fateful night on the beach of Cancun, I witnessed the death of love. It died ugly, amid gunshots and the wailing of a woman who had traded 30 years of marriage for passion and the wealth of a Mexican cartel boss. I stood in the shadows of the coastal rocks, watching every second of this tragedy unfold. An old soldier, an Iraq war veteran, betrayed and humiliated by his wife, cornered by a mortal wound, was executing his perfect revenge. And I was merely an intermediary whom fate had randomly chosen to witness this tale of honor, betrayal, and retribution. Now, my friends, let me tell you this story from the beginning. The evening breeze gently swayed palm fronds above the terrace of La Perla, one of Cancun's most intimate restaurants. After a week of wild parties, I'd finally decided to spend an evening in quiet contemplation, nursing a cold beer and fresh seafood. My friends had invited me to another drinking session at the beach club, but I wasn't in the mood. I just wanted to sit, reflect on life, and listen to the sound of the surf. The waiter had just brought my order when I noticed him, a silver-haired man who stood out distinctly among the tourists. Military bearing, vigilant gaze, crisp linen suit, everything about him screamed that he wasn't your typical vacationer. Our eyes met, and he headed toward my table. "May I join you?" His voice was quiet but commanding. Something about it struck a familiar chord. "Of course, please sit." Robert Drake, he extended his hand. His handshake was firm, assured. "Alex Sullivan," I replied. "I know it," he smiled slightly. "You're the spitting image of your father. Same eyes, same stubborn chin." I tensed. "You knew my father?" "More than knew him. We served together in Iraq. Your father saved my life during that mess in Fallujah. Earned the Medal of Honor, posthumously." He pulled a worn photograph from his breast pocket. I recognized it immediately. We had the same one on our mantelpiece at home. "Didn't expect to run into you here," Robert continued. "But I guess fate works in mysterious ways." He beckoned the waiter, ordered a bottle of tequila. "Care to keep an old man company?" I nodded. There was something compelling about this man, despite the weariness etched on his face. "How's life treating you, son?" "Got a girlfriend?" "No, just focusing on college right now. Parties, classes, nothing serious." "Smart move." He poured the tequila into shot glasses. "Don't rush into marriage." I did, and now I'm paying the price. Bitterness crept into his voice. He downed his shot in one gulp, grimacing. "You know what's worse than betrayal? Daily, methodical humiliation from someone you trusted with your life. My wife, Sarah. She turned my life into a living hell." He fell silent, staring at the ocean. The sun was setting slowly, painting the water blood red. "Want to talk about it?" I pushed a line wedge toward him. Robert nodded, his fingers trembling slightly as he poured another shot. "Maybe this'll serve as a lesson to you. I'm going to tell you how love can turn into poison that slowly kills your soul, and how one encounter in Cancun 2 years ago destroyed everything I built." I settled back in my chair. Something told me this story would be anything but simple. The night was just beginning, and the surf was already growing louder, as if heralding an approaching storm. 2 years ago, Sarah and I came here to celebrate. 30 years of marriage. That's no small milestone. I wanted to give her something special, relive our younger days. We used to come to Mexico often, go diving, have fun. She always loved scuba diving. Robert poured more tequila, his eyes darkening. That evening by the pool, he appeared Miguel Santos, a businessman from Mexico City, or so he introduced himself. Handsome, confident, in his 40s. He immediately set his sights on Sarah. But that's not what shocked me. You know what he said to me? Robert leaned forward, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Mr. Drake," he says, "your wife is magnificent. Tonight I'll take her to bed, and you'll watch. And you know what? She'll agree. Care to make a wager?" "What did you do?" I unconsciously clenched my fists. "Nothing. Thought it was some sick joke. That Sarah would shut him down. He started seducing her right in front of me, openly, brazenly. And she bloomed, like she'd shed 20 years, laughing at his jokes, flirting. And then He broke off, pulling out his phone. Better to see it for yourself. Look, the screen showed a video. An attractive woman in her 50s sat on the lap of a dark-skinned man. She stared directly into the camera, and there was something predatory in her gaze. Enjoying the show, darling. Her voice dripped with venom. You like to watch, don't you? That's all you're good for now. Turn it off. I couldn't watch anymore. Why did you let this happen? I tried to intervene, but Robert's face hardened. That first evening, he made it crystal clear who he really was. One of Mexico's most powerful cartel kingpins. Here in Cancun, his people were everywhere. Waiters, hotel security, police. He showed me photos of my family, addresses where my sister's grandchildren went to school. His voice cracked. And Sarah, he let out a bitter laugh. She smelled opportunity like a shark smells blood. Big money, luxury lifestyle, power. You know what she said to me? Robert, don't be a fool. A man like this could set us up for life. Maybe we can finally live like royalty in our golden years. He drained another shot of tequila, his hands trembling slightly. I thought she was scared. But no, she was thriving. She became younger, more vibrant, while I turned into their personal plaything for entertainment. The waiter brought another bottle. Robert barely noticed. You want to know the worst part? His voice dropped to a whisper. When I had a heart attack, right in the middle of their entertainment, they didn't even stop. Sarah just laughed. If he dies, we'll collect the insurance and travel the world. All because since Iraq, I've been carrying a piece of shrapnel near my heart. The doctors say I'm living on borrowed time. It could kill me any moment. Maximum I've got left is a few years. He knocked back another shot. I'm practically a dead man walking. But before I check out, I want my dignity back. And you're going to help me with that, son. Robert pulled out 2 envelopes. The first one contains a letter for Sarah. Documents, bank statements, proof of her espionage. The second has instructions for you. A safety deposit box key, my lawyer's contact information. Why the safety deposit box? For the phone. It has over 100 videos on it. I recorded every meeting, every humiliation. But that's not even the main thing. It's their conversations about contracts, military bases, cargo movements. You know what Miguel's cartel does to traders? He showed another video. Sarah sat at a table with Miguel sketching diagrams. Here she's passing coordinates of a classified storage facility. A week later, it was robbed. 3 guards died. Why haven't you turned them over to the authorities? And what would that accomplish? Miguel's bought off half of Mexico's police force. And Sarah, she'd find a way to wiggle out. She'd claim I forced her, threatened her, play the victim card. No, we need something more definitive. He waved down the waiter, ordered more tequila. They'll be here tonight on the beach, where it all began. Anniversary of sorts, he laughed bitterly. 2 years of my shame. What are you planning? You'll see. Your job is simple. When it's over, you send the videos. Media, police, military. The distribution list is ready. Then you give Sarah her envelope. Think you can handle that? I hesitated. What if I refuse? Then I die like a pathetic cuckold, a man whose wife betrayed him, humiliated him, and sold him out to the enemy. Is that what you want? For your father's sacrifice to have been for nothing? Are you blackmailing me? No, just telling it straight. I'm dying, Alex. This shrapnel. Doctors give me a month tops, but I want to go out on my own terms. Take back my dignity. Isn't that what your father taught you? He was right. Dad always said honor matters more than life itself. All right, I took the envelopes. What's next? Now we wait. They'll come at midnight. We sat in silence. Robert watched the waves while I tried to process everything I'd heard. His story seemed insane, but the videos didn't lie. Every frame, every word oozed with poison and humiliation. You know, I finally said, at West Point they taught us that revenge is a poor counselor. And what did your father teach you? Robert turned to me. In the candlelight, his face looked carved from stone. About honor, duty, about how a man must stand by his principles to the end. Isn't that right? I stayed quiet. He was right. Dad always said some things matter more than life. Look at me. Robert unbuttoned his shirt. An old scar darkened his chest. This shrapnel, it's my souvenir from Iraq. Could have killed me then, might kill me now. But you know what? I'm more afraid of dying a coward than from a piece of metal in my heart. A strange fire burned in his eyes. Not madness, determination. You don't have to participate in this. He suddenly softened. Just be a witness. I need someone who'll tell the truth, someone I can trust. I'll do it. My voice came out surprisingly firm. For my father. For you. Whatever you've planned. Robert nodded and checked his watch. 11:30. Time to move. He pulled a pistol from his bag, checked the magazine. His movements were precise, confident. Military training never fades. Final act, my young friend. Try not to miss any details. This story needs to be told right. We rose from the table. Ahead lay the private section of beach, where waves glimmered in the moonlight. Somewhere there, in a secluded cove between the rocks, the final scene of this tragedy would play out. Robert walked ahead, his figure stark against the starlit sky. An old soldier, marching into his last battle. The cove greeted us with the sound of crashing waves and soft laughter. They were already there, Sarah and Miguel, lounging on a blanket near the rocks. A bottle of champagne glinted on a small folding table, candles flickering in the breeze. Start recording, Robert commanded softly. Stay in the shadows. I activated the camera on his phone and stepped behind a boulder. Robert slowly approached the couple. They didn't notice his presence until he was barely 10 paces away. Well, look who's decided to join us. Miguel spread his arms theatrically. Our little voyeur coming to join the party. Sarah's laugh rang out, sharp, mocking. Darling, your timing is perfect. We were just about to start the show. Stand up, both of you. Robert's voice was quiet but carried an edge of steel. Come on, amigo. Miguel reached for the bottle. Have a drink with us. 2 years is worth celebrating. He stopped short, seeing the pistol in Robert's hand. I said, stand up. Now they both rose. Miguel's smile became strained. All right, take it easy. Let's talk this through like civilized people. The time for talk is over. Robert raised the gun. For 2 years I endured your torment. For 2 years you turned my life into hell. Now it's my turn. Robert, sweetheart. Sarah's voice took on a pleading tone. You don't want to do anything foolish. Think about the consequences. Consequences. He let out a harsh laugh. Did you think about consequences when you leaked classified data to the cartel? When people died because of your betrayal? Sarah went pale. Miguel made a move toward his jacket but froze when Robert racked the slide. Don't even think about it. Your thugs of the hotel can't help you now. How much? Miguel suddenly asked. How much do you want? Name your price. Price? Robert shook his head. You know what's funny? I really am dying. Shrapnel by the heart. Doctors give me a month max. So money means nothing to me now. Then what do you want? Fear crept into Miguel's voice for the first time. Justice. The gunshot was deafeningly loud. Miguel collapsed, clutching his chest. Dark blood quickly spread across his white shirt. Sarah screamed, trying to crawl away from Miguel's body. All her arrogance vanished in an instant. No, Robert, please. She raised trembling hands. I can explain everything. Explain? He turned to her slowly. Then start with the main question. Why, Sarah? What did I do to deserve this? I don't know, her voice shook. He appeared so powerful, so confident. I felt young again, desirable. And me? Did 30 years of marriage mean nothing to you? They did. I swear they did. She crawled toward him on her knees. I was stupid. I got lost. Robert, darling, give me a chance to make it right. Make it right. He smiled grimly. Remember what you said when I had my heart attack. If he dies, we'll collect the insurance. Can you make that right? Sarah broke down sobbing, smearing makeup and sand across her face. Forgive me. Please forgive me. I was a monster, I know. I missed you. Truly missed you. Still lying. He shook his head. Even now you can't stop lying. Think I don't know about your plans to divorce me, take the house, the money. She froze, and something in her gaze changed. The mask fell away completely. What choice did I have? Her voice hardened. You're a complete failure. Spent your whole life reliving your war stories. And what did I get? An empty house, no children, endless waiting. Aunt Miguel. She faltered, glancing at her lover's body. Finish it. Robert cocked the hammer. Tell the truth, for once. Yes, I loved him, she screamed. Loved how he humiliated you, put you in your place. You're nothing but a pathetic impotent who silently watched us. Robert smiled, a strange, almost tender smile. Now I see the real you. Thank you for your honesty. He raised the pistol to his temple. No. Sarah suddenly lunged toward him. Don't you dare. You can't just leave like this. I won't let you. The gunshot cut off her cry. Robert's body fell beside Miguel's. Sarah remained frozen on her knees between them, staring into nothingness with glazed eyes. She was shaking uncontrollably. I stepped out of the shadows. She didn't notice me until I held out the envelope. Who? Who are you? The one who'll tell everyone the truth. I activated the video upload. Check your email, Mrs. Drake, and the news. There's going to be a lot of interesting information about you and your lover very soon. A life sentence, I guarantee it. Her eyes widened in horror as understanding dawned. No, he couldn't have. All those recordings. I turned and walked away. Behind me, her broken whisper carried on the wind. What have I done? Dear God, what have I done? Police sirens wailed in the distance. The video exploded across the internet like a bomb. Millions viewed it in the first 24 hours. Federal agents raided Sarah's house at dawn. The materials on Robert's phone were a treasure trove of evidence. Drug trafficking routes, classified facility coordinates, lists of corrupt officials. She didn't hold up long at trial. When the prosecutor played the recording of her words during Robert's heart attack, she cracked, sobbing, begging for mercy, swearing she was coerced. But the jury wasn't moved. The defendant, Sarah Drake, the judge's voice was dry and merciless. For treason against the United States, aiding a drug cartel, complicity in the deaths of federal employees, and disclosure of state secrets, is sentenced to life imprisonment without possibility of parole. I watched as they led her from the courtroom. All her former arrogance had vanished. Just a broken old woman in a gray prison jumpsuit. Miguel's cartel crumbled within months. The materials from Robert's phone helped take down the entire network, from warehouses to high-ranking protectors. Newspapers blazed with headlines about Operation Retribution. They buried Robert with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery. I stood at his grave, remembering our conversation at the restaurant. He knew exactly what he was doing, calculated every move, even turned his death into a weapon against those who betrayed him. The money he left me went to creating a veterans support foundation. They help those who return from war trying to find their place in civilian life. It's the best thing I could do to honor his memory. Sometimes I check the federal prison website where Sarah serves her sentence. There's her photograph. Gaunt face, dead eyes. She works in the prison laundry, washing other inmates' uniforms. They say she's often heard crying in her cell at night. And me, I finished military school, became a JAG prosecutor, got married, have a son, and every time I handle a tough case, I remember Robert's words about honor and justice. You know what's most terrifying about this story? How easily one can lose themselves, betray everything they believed in. Sarah wasn't evil, just a woman who wanted excitement, power, money, and ended up with a life sentence and eternal torment of conscience. Guard your honor from youth, goes the old saying. Robert guarded his until the very end. And though his revenge was terrible, it was just. In this world, everyone eventually pays their debts. I often bring my cadets to his grave, tell them this story as a lesson about loyalty, betrayal, and the price we pay for our choices. And on Robert's headstone, simple words are carved. He kept his honor.